This is a video to mark the centenary of the October Revolution, and it was also known as the Great October Socialist Revolution, Red October, the October Uprising, and the Bolshevik Revolution. It happened on the 25th of October on the Julian calendar and the 7th of November on the Gregorian calendar. Prior to the revolution, there had been workers' strikes in Moscow, Petrograd, which is now known as St. Petersburg. There had been a miners' strike in Donbass, a metal workers' strike in the Urals, and an oil workers' strike in Baku, which is the capital of Azerbaijan. There were 44 rail workers' strikes and a textile workers' strike. Over 1 million people participated in those strikes. The source of that information is the Petrograd Workers and the Seizure of Soviet Power by David Mandel. Prior to that, on the 1st of May 1917, Pavel Milyakov said that the provisional government would keep Russia in the war. That war was World War I. Between the 1st and 4th of May, over 100,000 workers and soldiers joined the Bolshevik anti-war strikes in Petrograd and other cities. On the 1st of July, over 500,000 joined the strikes. The source of that information is The Russian Revolution by Richard Pipes. On the 5th and 6th of July, the provisional government attacked Pravda and the Bolshevik committees. On the 7th, they ordered Vladimir Lenin's arrest. On the 12th of July, they reintroduced capital punishment for members of the military. On the 18th of July, they made General Laver Kornilov the commander-in-chief. Another coalition government was formed on the 24th of July, and it was chaired by Alexander Kerensky. And the source for that is Competing Voices from the Russian Revolution, Fighting Words by Michael C. Hickey. On the 27th of August, Kornilov attempted to march on the Petrograd Soviet, but the Bolsheviks convinced the soldiers to stand down. And the source for that is A History of the 20th Century Russia by Robert Service. On the 25th of October, the Red Guards took over government facilities, the key communication installations and vantage points of Petrograd. The Petrograd garrison and most of the city's military units joined the insurrection. The source for that is The Soviet Experiment by Ronald Sunney. Kerensky left the Winter Palace in Petrograd in a Renault borrowed from the United States Embassy. Source for that is The Bolsheviks Come to Power, the Revolution of 1917 in Petrograd by Alexander Rabinovich. The insurrection was mostly bloodless. The source for that is the second edition of The Great War by Ian Beckett. The Winter Palace was defended by 3,000 inexperienced guards. At 6:15 p.m, artillery cadets left the Winter Palace with the artillery. At 8 p.m. 200 Cossacks left the palace for their barracks. Bolshevik cut off the cabinet's communications to Tsarist military units and delivered an ultimatum to the cabinet. At 9:45 p.m. the Aurora fired a warning blank, and finally at 2 a.m. the Red Guards took the palace and the provisional government surrendered. And the sources for that are Ronald Sonny's The Soviet Experiment and Alexander Rabinovich's The Bolsheviks Come to Power, The Russian Revolution of 1917 in Petrograd. After the revolution, private property and banks were nationalized. Control of the means of industrial production was given to the Soviets. In other words, control of the factories were given to worker councils elected by the factory workers. People's wages were increased and the 8-hour workday was introduced. The Soviet Worker Council system was the most democratic at the time, as most legislatures at the time excluded peasant workers. The source of that information is Britannica. Land was distributed to farm workers. Also, under Lenin's government, more hospitals and schools were built. Building more schools eliminated illiteracy in the Soviet Union. The source of that information is the development of literacy in Russia and the USSR from the 10th to the 20th centuries by Boris Mironov. The Soviet Union increased its population from 137,727,000 to 293,047,571 people. It increased the Russian population from 104 million people to 148,704,300 people. It increased Ukraine's population from 27,400,000 to 52,056,000. Belarus 7,078,000 to 10,217,000. Moldova 2,385,000 to 4,353,000. Azerbaijan 2,353,700 to 7,382,100. Georgia 3,532,000 to 5,408,000. Armenia 1,354,000 to 3,549,000. Uzbekistan 6,340,000 to 21,354,000. Kazakhstan 6,228,300 to 16,439,000. Tajikistan 1,519,000 to 5,536,400. Kyrgyzstan 1,658,000 to to 4,515,000, Turkmenistan 1,223,000 to 3,883,000, Lithuania 2,616,000 to 3,700,000, Latvia 1,986,000 to 2,651,000, Estonia 1,120,000 to 1,533,000, Prussia 588,018 to 871,283 people. In other words, the Soviet Union increased every national demographic that it governed. And I will give you more facts on the Soviet Union. The Semashko, the socialized single-payer health system of the Soviet Union, was, and I'm quoting here, a coherent, cost-effective system to cope with the medical necessities, and that is according to an OECD report, The Social Crisis in the Russian Federation. In 1985, the Soviet Union had 4 times as many doctors and 4 times the number of hospital beds per patient that the United States had at the time. And the source for that is Mark Britnell's In Search of the Perfect Health System. After the October Revolution, life expectancy went up for all groups. In 1927, the life expectancy was 44.4 years, which was up from 32.3 years under the Tsar. In 1959, life expectancy was 68.6 years. So the Soviet Union was good for the life expectancy of the working class that it governed. The Soviet Union tripled its gross domestic product. The source for that is Angus Madison's The World Economy. Between 1925 and 1938, Stalin doubled the gross national product, according to Paul Barach's Economics and World History. So the Soviet Union was good economically for the working class that it governed. It should be remembered that 2 occasions the bravery of the Soviet officers saved the world from nuclear annihilation. During a vote on military action during the Cuban Missile Crisis, Vasily Alexandrovich Arkhipov, a Soviet Navy officer, cast the crucial vote against an offensive action which would have provoked nuclear retaliation. In 1983, Stanislav Yevgradovich Petrov made the decision to wait for confirmation instead of immediate retaliation. It turned out to be a false alarm and not United States encroachment on the Soviet Union. It should be pointed out that the Soviet Union militarily defeated the Third Reich, and in response to this, Ernest Hemingway said, "Anyone who loves freedom owes such a debt to the Red Army that it can never be repaid." And I will now show you some graphs on the Soviet Union. These are graphs relating to the Soviet Union. As you can see from the graph in the top left hand corner, the Soviet Union increased grain production from around 25 million tons in 1950 to 200 million tons in 1980. As you can see from the graph in the top right hand corner, the Soviet Union increased its industrial output by 391.9% compared with its pre-World War I output, which was under the Tsar. And as you can see from the rest of the graph, while France and America were able to regain their pre-war output, Britain and Germany were not. As you can see from the graph in the bottom left hand corner, Soviet food production decreased significantly when the Soviet Union broke up, and it is a similar story when you look at the Soviet economy, as there is a graph in the bottom right hand corner depicting gross domestic product at purchasing power parity per capita.